Minnesota riots have erupted after a large crowd gathered to protest on the wrongful killing of a black man while the police were arresting him. George Floyd was pleading with the police officer who was kneeling on his neck that he couldn't breathe. The officer didn't let him go for 7 minutes, despite Floyd asking for mercy, where he was declared dead a few hours later in the hospital.
I'm so tired of seeing people complain about property damage. Well, you work for, some insurance company or something? That's all I see. Oh, they're burning something. Shut your ass up. No one's concerned about the death of a black man in the middle of the street, but everybody's complaining about damn property damage. I'm Tim Black. Hey, check this out. You are listening to a proud black man who's unafraid, unapologetic, and has no reason to cower. So I'm not going to say, oh my God, I don't condone looting and rioting or protesting or whatever. I'm not going to say that shit. I'm glad they're doing it. We need to do something. I'm glad people care. Glad people have a pulse. I'm glad that people are affected. I ain't worried about Target or AutoZone or none of that shit. In case you didn't know, Americans are broke. Where you been? People in food lines who miss one paycheck end up in food lines in America. We underpaid and overworked and not respected. So what's happening in Minneapolis and many other cities are pushback that is natural. It's only natural for people to fight back. At some point, people are tired of being stepped on.
Tim has always been good about talking about solidarity. He says people are tired. And he acknowledges all of the people are tired. Just like Martin Luther King Jr. said, solidarity with all the people. He said this is pushback from all of us, but we have not all suffered equally. Our own black and brown people have suffered disproportionately, and black and brown people the world over have suffered disproportionately from the bullying of the United States. The U.S. bullies its own people, especially black and brown people, and it bullies people the world over, especially black and brown people.
Watching images of black people being killed in the street, being killed in their homes, being killed, period. We're tired of it. So, if you got a problem with that, that's too much for you to handle. Like seeing that imagery of the store burning, well, that's go fuck yourself. Just imagine what would have happened if those cowardly-ass officers who watched that killer cop, Derek Chauvin, murder in cold blood George Floyd. Just imagine if one of those officers had the balls, the courage, the heart, the ethics, the morality, the humanity to stop Mr. Chauvin, push him off of Mr. Floyd, and say, not today, my brother, not today. Just imagine the different world we have right now. It'd be very therapeutic for us to see that, wouldn't it? I mean, in the midst of a pandemic, to see a white cop stop another white cop from killing a black man, it would have been beautiful. Oh, amazing. But instead we got this. We got killer cops protecting cops. Or cops protecting killer cops. We got riots in the street. We got people upset. We got cops shooting tear gas and rubber bullets on calm protesters, creating more drama, okay? Creating violent protests. They started with the tear gas. Don't get it twisted. They did the same thing in Ferguson. They did the same thing in Baltimore. The police amped it up. And then that gave them an excuse to crack some heads. At the end of the day, it's up to us if we're going to allow the law enforcement to continue to kill us. And you know what? I don't know if you noticed this or not, Johnson, but there's white people, black people, Latino people, Asian people, Native American people, all out in those streets. Everybody's out there. Because some people are humane. Some people are tired of this shit too. It ain't just black people, but I'm proud to say that I'm a black man who's tired of it, and there's many of us that are also tired of it, so let's stand up. I thank you to my allies. I appreciate you standing up with us. We got to continue to stand up, because this ain't going to stop until we make it stop. They'll do this shit to us another 100 years. I don't want my great-grandkids to be fighting the same damn fights because I done had the courage to fight him right now. So look, we need to do this now. My condolences to the family of George Floyd, and I understand they said, hey, we don't want no violence. We just want peaceful protests. But you know what? We can't help you. We can't do it that way. They're not going to allow us to be peaceful. They're not going to allow us to grieve. They're not going to allow us to change the system. I'm sorry that it has to be this way. This is the way it has to be for right now. Until we get some type of laws on the books that immediately lock up people like Derek Chauvin, get him off the force. He has a track record of doing this. Do you understand? This wasn't new for him.
And Amy Klobuchar was part of the reason he was still on the force. She protected him earlier for killing a Native American man.
And those stores can be replaced, and that merchandise can be restocked. But Mr. George Floyd cannot be reborn. He cannot be undid, okay? So just know that shit. Solidarity, my brothers. Peace and courage and love.
Solidarity. Solidarity. Minneapolis City Council Vice President Andrea Jenkins had this to say. We feel, she said, referring to the black community in Minneapolis and nationwide, as if there was a knee on all of our collective necks, a knee that says black life does not matter to the institutions that dictate what happens in this culture and society. Until we name this virus, this disease that has infected America for the past 400 years, we will never, ever resolve this issue.
We're a warlike people. We like war because we're good at it. And you know why we're good at it? Because we get a lot of practice. This country's only 200 years old, and already we've had 10 major wars. We average a major war every 20 years in this country, so we're good at it. And it's a good thing we are. We're not very good at anything else anymore. Huh? Can't build a decent car. Can't make a TV set or a VCR worth a fuck. Got no steel industry left. Can't educate our young people. Can't get health care to our old people. But we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Huh? We can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Especially if your country is full of brown people. Oh, we like that, don't we? That's our hobby. That's our new job in the world, bombing brown people. Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Libya, you got some brown people in your country. Tell them to watch the fuck out, or we'll goddamn bomb them. Well, when's the last white people you can remember that we bombed? Can you remember the last white? Can you remember any white people we've ever bombed? The Germans, those are the only ones, and that's only because they were trying to cut in on our action. They wanted to dominate the world. Bullshit, that's our fucking job.
The CIA and the U.S. military have been using economic and military thuggery to achieve prosperity for multinational corporations since at least World War II. Affluent meritocrats have benefited. Comfy suburbanites have benefited. And not just white comfy suburbanites. Black comfy suburbanites have benefited too. And so we've all been paid off to keep our mouths shut. We've tried not to pay attention, but what he said about bombing people is absolutely true. And the U.S. has done what it's done for economic reasons. So violence against our own black and brown people, it's also been violence against our own working people, working poor, but disproportionately to black and brown people. So the only way we're going to stop this is if all of us stand up together, even the comfy ones, and say enough is enough. We need to stand up together in solidarity with George and his family. We need to stand up together in solidarity for our own oppressed people. We need to stop guarding our prosperity. This is a wealthy fucking country. There's plenty for everybody here. This is a wealthy fucking planet. There's plenty for everybody on the planet. Especially if we stop basing our prosperity on explosive population growth. Come on, people, we can figure this shit out. Tim expressed no remorse for the looting. Tim expressed no remorse for the property damage. I'm with you. The only remorse should be for the injustice. There have been riots in other parts of the country too, in solidarity with the riots in Minneapolis. We can't keep doing it like this. I think Tim is right. I don't think we're going to solve this peacefully. I think we're going to have to rise up together. We're going to have to organize our labor. We're going to have to deny the oligarchs our work. We're going to have to stop paying our rent and our mortgages. And when we pile into the streets peacefully, we're going to have to expect to get rubber bullets shot at us, and we're going to have to expect to get tear gassed. But we need to all stand together in the streets too. White supremacy is behind all of this. White supremacy and zero-sum thinking. The idea that there's not enough to go around and that a few people have to protect what they have from everyone else. That kind of thinking is what's killing all of us, but it's especially killing black and brown people. So if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. I don't think we're going to get past this unless we're willing to fuck shit up. It's time to dump the tea into the harbor. It's time to pull out the bayonets. It's time to stand up against tyranny and oppression. And we all need to do it together. And that means police officers and military personnel. You can't be turning on your own people. You have to stand up with us. You can't keep serving the corporate masters. You have to take sides. And you have to stand with the people. Because when someone like George Floyd suffers, we all suffer. Our humanity is at stake.